Welcome! Look who we have here, ladies and gentlemen. Back on the show. Lily, it is a pleasure to see you.
Dan,
How
it's been too long, too long.
it has been too long. How long has it been? A couple of years. It goes by
Couple of
quick, doesn't it?
years. It goes by quicker and quicker, I've found, as I've gotten older, which is terrifying. I'm trying to slow down time. If you know any secrets, you seem to be aging backwards, Dan.
No, I was going to
Curious
say you seem to be aging
about that.
backwards. What's your secret?
That's good. I'll take that. You know what? I have a vibration plate, and every morning I stand on this. It looks like a giant skateboard, and I stand on it, and it wiggles me, and I don't stop wiggling for like 30 minutes afterwards. It's just my body composition, and I think that's the secret to it. I also have my giant jug of water, which I don't have currently, but I
So
drink a
what's
lot of water.
this jig? What are we calling it? A jiggler? A
Yes,
vibrator? Oh, I
jiggler.
don't want to
That's a
say that
technical
actually.
name. The jiggler.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
vibration. Yeah, you
Your
can find them on.
vibration plate. Yeah.
Yeah, I've turned like 15 people onto them because they'll stand on the vibration plate and then be like, "Where did you get one of these vibration plates?" Um, oh, thank you. I've actually just been brought my
Oh,
this
thank you very much, anonymous guest from the side.
Vanna White on the side here. Um, yes, this is my fourth one of these. I started getting onto these when I was in New Mexico, and it's the driest place in the world. Actually, I wonder if Australia is drier. I don't. Is it dry where you are?
No, it's not too bad, depending where you
Dry.
are. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Well, I was turned into a raisin in the second week of filming Roswell, so I bought this canteen, and it's been with me, for a little while. And I have two fears, Dan. The first is that I have to pee and I don't know where I'm going to pee, and the second is that I don't have to pee, and so I must be dehydrated.
So you're living in a constant state of fear.
Yeah, it keeps me running. Speaking of which,
I want to thank you because you were my fourth ever interview on the channel, and I've done now nearly 200. So I want to just say off the top, thank you very much.
number four was the lucky one. I think it was number four that really tilted you and it
And it
really
went
solidified.
downhill ever since. But we're back up. We're going back up.
What number is this? Do you know?
I think it's around 190. Yeah.
190. Wow.
Yeah.
So you've been working, you've been doing it. I'm
Yeah.
man.
I've been
Wow.
hustling. Yeah, I've
I
been
don't know
hustling.
there were 190 people in this world.
But I still haven't found someone as lovely as you, Lily. So I think it's an endless search.
My God. Well, I'll just come back 191, not 192, 193. It can just be the Lillian. We could start a podcast.
You would actually be great at a podcast. Have you ever thought about doing one?
I've never thought of it because I don't find myself like I don't feel that I have enough to
To
say, although
share.
I'm
Yeah.
talk a lot. Like I would, but no, I don't feel like I have the authority to really speak on anything. So I would be, I don't know what I would talk about.
So what have you been up to since we last talked? You put out a game,
That's right. That's
not by
right. Immortal.
yourself, but you were in a game,
I did it
Immortals of Avium.
single-handedly. That was all me. Wrote it, produced it. Yeah, it was a huge feat. No, Immortals of Avium had an incredible team behind it. Some of the best people I've worked with. I had so much fun doing that. And I don't think that maybe I had actually started filming it when we spoke, when we were speaking last. I
Yeah.
mean, Call of Duty came out, but actually those were sort of concurrent. But the Call of Duty franchise, like they churn them out. They're fast as hell. You can't even fathom the amount of work. And I know people who work on those games and they're like, it's a constant slog. Like they with the quickness, they do so well by their fans. But Immortals of Avium was, more of an independent studio. So it took a little bit of time. But I think I had been working on both of them at the same time. So I would have been already starting to work on Zendara when we were speaking. And then, yeah, I was still filming Roswell back then. So I was living in New Mexico and just being part of that incredible team.
When did that
Um,
get when did that end?
that finished, I guess, 2022. We had our fourth season, and then there was so much shakeup actually with the network that I think we all assumed we'd keep going back. Like I think we thought it was, we had such a smooth running operation,
Mm.
and there was such a loyal, wonderful fan base. So I think we were all a little like, oh, but there's just so much. It's been obviously the whole industry has been kind of upended. So
Mm.
um, changeover at the CW. So we parted ways, which was so bittersweet because you get, it's like a family, especially after 4 years. I know things about those people.
that you'll never be able to share.
They'll never be because of NDAs I signed. No, I didn't. So I'll tell you all about it. No, but on the other hand, it also opens up your life to work on new things. So I've been um I've been working on some of my own stuff. I wrote and produced a short film. We've just started submitting it to film festivals, which is so exciting. I
That's
can't wait to
awesome.
share. And then yeah, I've been writing a lot. I wrote a screenplay this summer. I'm on to my second one now. So I've been, I always write parts for myself. So I hope to keep
You're
like
always thinking of yourself like a
I'm
part.
always thinking of myself, you know. But that's been a really fun process and such an exciting new part of my own creativity to like kind of feel out and explore. So that's been really gratifying. But I've been, we put out Immortals this summer, which was so exciting, and the reception was amazing too. That character, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, but was such a fun and new type of role for me. And yeah, it was a huge moment for me actually as an actor. I feel like I got to explore parts of myself that I actually had always tried to like hide. But we'll get
Really?
into that. Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah. Well, I'll tell you all about it, but
Yeah, no, no. So
finish.
with
Yeah,
with
there.
with Roswell, the
Yeah.
so was that a shock to you guys? And also, you know, you said it was bittersweet, but did you get to end some story arcs in that season 4?
I mean, I think it was a little bit of a shock.
Yeah.
I think I assumed that we would go to five. I think felt that there was going to be like a big, um, yeah, tie up around the fifth season. And we could feel, I remember getting the script for the final episode in four. And I had been like, oh, we're definitely coming back. There's no way we're not. And then I got that script and I was a little like, these are some bows that are happening here. Why are we tying bows? Like very often you get these big cliffhangers at the end of seasons so that it's like, you better tune in for next season. And I saw that there was like a little bit of resolution happening. So I think there was a sense, and again, I think a lot of it had to do with the changeover at the network. So they were
Yeah.
a little bit like, oh, who knows what's going to happen. So
Mm.
we should have some kind of like soft resolution. So I think there was some, but I think if we'd been given, it's one of these things we found out that we weren't being picked up after we had finished wrapping. So we didn't have the luxury of really being able to very intentionally tie up all of those loose ends. And I think that's, we probably could have done a lot to give a lot of justice to the characters if we'd had that knowledge beforehand, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah, and there was so many shows I'm pretty sure that they axed or cancelled. I'm
Yeah.
sure it was CW, isn't it? Yeah.
Bloodbath. Yeah. CW.
Yeah.
But so grateful that we got four seasons. I mean, that was my first job as a series regular. So it was like, I felt like I hit the jackpot. And also just the people that I got to work with, like I said, they were such a family. We were so tight and living in Santa Fe, which is such a cool city, but it's smaller. So we all got like, it was, summer camp. We were like, except it was freezing cold
Oh,
for
really? I thought it was
filming.
hot.
It was hot in the summer, and then high desert. We're actually at 7,200 feet, which I don't know. I'm not going to try to
Whoa.
convert to meters, so
Yeah,
you can
right.
do that for yourself. Yeah. Um, but
Yeah.
high up, like high altitude, and yeah, the high desert in the winter, like it would be 19 degrees, and we were filming. I actually look back on that, and I'm like, it was hardcore. Like we were
Yeah.
Navy SEALs. I'm sorry to any Navy SEAls who just heard that and are like, you are absolutely not Navy SEAls. But for an actor, we were like, you're filming all night long. It's a hour night shoot, and you're like, it's a CW. So you're wearing like a silk
Uh,
nightgown, high heels, and you're like,
but you
too safe.
loved didn't you get off on the stunts and that sort of thing? You loved that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's so much fun. And I was so lucky that my character got to have an arc where she like really leaned into it and
Yeah.
embraced it. So I got to fight I got eventually my own sword. I had this beautiful alien sword that would like, it was so cold again. Like my knuckles I would be just free bleeding just all over the place. And I was like, make sure it makes it into the shot. Looks so hardcore. Did. Got to fight with a pool cue. There's some hand-to-hand stuff.
But there's
It was
something there's a commonality with your characters. They're always either badass or fighting or what. So what's going on? You know.
I've got a lot of demons, Dan. My demons are strong within me. I don't know. I'm so grateful for that. And as like I look back and think about my younger self, and I'm like, I wouldn't have wished for any other kinds of roles as like a kid. I feel like I that would have been a dream for me. And I think I practiced martial arts for many years when I was living in Los Angeles. And so that just became part of, I feel like maybe, I'm also giant. I'm like almost 5'11", 5'10" and a half. And have like this kind of physicality. Plus, I think maybe I have this deep voice. And so I have an instrument that I think lends itself to like, don't fuck with me. Oh, did we make it to 2 minutes?
Yeah, we did. It's all good.
Don't mess with me.
Don't fuck with me. Yeah.
Don't fuck with me, motherfucker.
Yeah.
But I think it's also something that I actively like put out there. I remember having a conversation with the showrunner, Karina, on Roswell, being like, can you just give me a fight scene? Can you just try? And the character in season 1 was not someone that you would think would get into a fight. And then, I think it sort of like naturally turned that way. But
Ah.
um,
So you kind of
I think
pushed it that way a little bit.
hell yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I was definitely like, just give me a shot. Like, let me in, coach. Let me just show you what I got. And I remember watching the stunt girls being like, okay, I just have to do it just a little bit better there. You're like, all right. I wanted
Oh,
this
you're
really,
competitive. Yeah.
it's funny. Like I so wanted to prove that it was a good idea, that what I'd like suggested would be, would pay off, and then that they would just give me more. And it, yeah, I guess it did. It read. So it was so fun. And a lot of those fight scenes, I got to fight Nathan, the actor who played my brother. So there's a lot of brother and sister physical fighting, which I feel like is cathartic for everyone. They're like, yeah, just want to
So
mess my.
when you look back on that show, it's just fond memories, yeah. And it's mostly, is it true? Like you just think of the cast and crew, really? That's what you miss
Yeah,
the most.
I miss the cast and crew so much. That we were super tight knit, and that's definitely a huge part of it. But I miss New Mexico. I really loved that state. I'm actually still a resident. I just renewed my license. I still have a New Mexican license plate on my car. They're like, when are you going to admit that you moved to Connecticut? Let's go all the way, baby. I miss the culture there and just the people, and yeah, the whole vibe it was really fun. I loved living in Santa Fe. If you haven't been to Santa Fe, it's a such a special place to visit.
No, I haven't been. I've only been to the big cities in America. I'm ashamed to say. I do want to explore a bit more next time I'm
Mhm.
over. You
You just
know,
give me a ring, Dan. I'll show you the good time. We can do like a American road trip. Dan and Lil take an American road
you
trip
love road trips, don't you?
too.
And so do I. There's something about them. It's just the
It's just part of our
camaraderie. Yeah,
yeah.
it's the
What's
camaraderie.
the road trip
Put the
mean,
music
like
up.
yeah, for the playlist. Yeah, it's all about the music.
What's your go-to song
Wow, it
for a
really
road trip?
depends on like where I'm driving and what the vibe is. But just I mean, I think it so depends on what I'm doing. But I've been listening to a lot of like folk music. So I feel like out there in the like American West, I was listening to a lot of like Woody Guthrie and, a lot of Bob Dylan, and just like really leaning into my like Americana roots while I was out there. Just really feeling that.
Good
But,
taste.
I'll get down with anything. Like I love most types of music. Weirdly, when you said that, my go-to was like Meatloaf. And I was like, don't say meat. Don't say Meatloaf. But I'll throw on some Meatloaf. Yeah.
You're doing
Sing
anything not to say it. Uh, yeah, meatloaf. Yeah, okay, interesting.
the
So,
whole album. It's so epic. It's just I scream along on the top of my lungs.
so last time we didn't actually get to chat about you growing up. I know you grew up speaking Spanish, and you speak fondly of Olga. Was that her name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Damn.
Sorry, I didn't want to make you cry this early, but
Not at all. I'm this early. I did want to make you cry later on.
yeah, later
Um,
on. Yeah.
no, yes, I was raised by this incredible woman, Olga Tabares, Maria Olga Tabares, and she had an enormous impact on me. Yeah, I grew up in the woods in Northwest Connecticut, actually where am now. Not in this home, but in a different home. But my parents were both actors and they were in and out of New York so much. So I was really raised by this woman who was just the most generous, loving, just more than my mother, deeper than family kind of a vibe. And I'm so grateful that that I was raised and speaking Spanish too. That was a huge gift.
What's that like with your mum and dad going out all the time? And is that a challenge as a kid or?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was having two actor parents definitely is it's a very bohemian kind of way to grow up. I think it's really fun as a child to see your parents in these like play worlds and knowing that that's available. The kinds of people that I was exposed to in New York theater and just the oddballs that they were working with. It was so magical as a child to just have a world it felt so expansive and so non-traditional. So I think I grew up in this really like open-minded, very, creative kind of place, which is an incredible place for a child. But on the other side, there's a lot of sacrifice that has to happen. As an actor, you get called to a job and you have to go here, go there. Or if you're in a play, it's like grueling. I mean, my my pop would ride his motorcycle into New York City every night for his plays. If he was doing, 8 shows a week, and he would just drop us off at school, motorcycle into the city, perform the play, motorcycle home, get back at like 2 in the morning and wake up and do it all again over and over and over again for the length of a play. Um, that was less difficult, I would say, than, when they had to travel for work and it was like, mom's going away for 8 weeks. And you're like, don't go, mom. But then, you get to go visit mom on set and that's pretty cool. And you're like, damn,
Mm,
look at all the stuff that mom's doing. And, having also a model of a woman who was, um, she was so, my mother is such a powerhouse and has this incredible work ethic. And anytime I would go and visit her on set, I could feel that people were, responded to her like, wow, your mother is such an incredible just force and she comes so prepared. And I think as a little girl, like seeing that reflected in your mother is like, it's my mom. Like, dang, my mom was like, that's
yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
cool.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and seeing also, a female who my mother's career has just, it's continued to grow and evolve through so many years. So it's also been such a wonderful example of women not aging out. And, there's this terrible idea of like, oh, you get to a certain age and then, nobody's going to want you. And it's like, that was the opposite. Um, so having that as the example closest to me, I mean, what a gift that is to be like, no, hell no, I'm going to be working till the day I die.
Exactly. And she must have taught you a few things about the business along the way, I'm guessing. The
Yeah,
good and the
I'm
bad.
the good and the bad. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it actually made me take it really seriously growing up in that way. I think I had, I was in plays that my father would write and I was always around it. So I was like, oh yeah, this is absolutely, I'm going to go into the family business and be doing this. And then there was an age where I had to step back and really examine if that was the life that I wanted because I knew so intimately the trials and tribulations. It seems like it's a glamorous profession, but it's so unglamorous so much of the time. And, just the reality of how difficult it is to be making a living as an artist. And yeah, again, all the sacrifices that have to be made when you have a family, that stuff is big. So it gave me, I think I went into it with my eyes really wide open because I knew um, very intimately what would be required of me. And I had to ask, like, can I take this on or do I want to do something, do I want to live a life that's going to be a little less chaotic? Um,
Was there ever another path that you were going to take?
yeah, for a little while, I was working in documentary film actually.
Ah,
When I was in
behind
college,
the camera.
behind the camera, baby.
Wow.
Yeah, which is great. It's another form of storytelling. So I
Mm.
think I was always going to be probably always going to want to be a storyteller in some way or another.
I was
But
going to say now you're kind of doing that now, back to the
yeah,
roots a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Starting to write and produce. That's been, I mean, it's just there's so many different parts to anything that gets made. And so being able to, try my hand at different parts has been really gratifying. Um, and I think I've lived a life that's shown me I'm always going to want to be exploring all the different facets of my, curiosity. So being able to scratch that itch has been really great. But yeah, for a little while I went my senior thesis in college, I made a documentary on Pentecostal churches in Maputo, Mozambique. I also speak Portuguese, Dan,
You do?
which I learned in order to make that film. They speak Portuguese in Mozambique. It was a Portuguese
Hold on.
colony.
When did you learn that?
That would have been in college, yeah, 2008, 2009.
Oh, so now I have to hear it.
Eu falo um pouco de português. Faz muito tempo que eu não falei, mas quando eu tento, eu posso falar. Seria melhor se eu posso olhar,
Did you
alguém falar.
did you also study Russian as well?
For a very brief moment, right? In my freshman year of college, I tried to speak Russian. It was difficult, but yes, I do have the one phrase that I can pull out of my pocket. Извините, пожалуйста, где тут моя собака?
Damn, that sounds pretty good actually. Yeah.
And excuse me, please, have you seen my dog anywhere?
Why is it that phrase of all phrases?
I figured someday I'll be traveling in Russia and I will lose my dog. And I just knew that of all the phrases that I needed to keep in my back pocket, that was going to be the one. So I have no idea. Why did that stay in my head? I have no idea. Где тут моя собака? This is just
And how good's your Australian language?
terrible. Don't ask me to try to
No,
do
no,
it.
it's all right. I won't make you do
Ah,
it.
no, I wouldn't make you do it.
Oh, there you go. There's a slight attempt, everybody.
Give me like 3 days and I can listen and listen. I'll pick it up. But
Yeah.
I faked my way through Call of Duty, for instance, with my English accent.
Yeah, there's the infamous story where there was a British director, right? And you were kind of a little
Dan,
bit
God bless.
nervous.
Yeah, I was like, oh. So for real? Okay. We're still super tight, Dan and I. I just saw him in Los Angeles. He's one of the best people I know. Brilliant writer for Call of Duty.
So I was looking at the COD wiki. I don't know if you're familiar with the COD wiki.
COD Wiki, is that kind of like WikiFeet, but for COD?
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, it goes into the characters, background and if they're alive or dead and that sort of thing. And I'm looking and Park is actually alive, apparently. She's not
Well,
dead.
that's because, Dan, enough people rallied and saved Park.
Really? I can't say I was one of them.
I know you were, and I won't forget that. I'm actually
No.
surprised that back on the. What am I doing here? Excuse me.
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry. No, I'm only joking. No, I saved you.
Lazar?
Yeah.
Let's check Wiki. Is Lazar still alive?
I don't actually know that. Can someone check in the chat? Yeah, but I looked and you're
No,
alive. I would love to know. They should have brought out the stats, like what the percentage was either way. Did you ever find that out?
I'd be scared. I feel like many people saved Lazar to their detriment. They didn't know. Forgive them, Lord. They know not what they do.
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful to everyone who saved Park, including you. I'm sure at some point you probably went back and you saved her and you realized how much better the game turned out when you saved Park.
100%. Yeah.
I loved that hashtag. I still, every once in a while, will throw it in randomly. Save Park.
On a random post.
Yeah. Exactly. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Save Park.
So how do you look back on that experience and did that change the way you look at gaming?
Oh my God. That was one of the most incredible things. And I did not know when I went into it what an incredible experience it was going to be. I mean, when you're auditioning for it, everything is like coded. They tell you you're like auditioning for like Maximus, and you're like, what's Maximus? And then you go into the, callback. It's the Activision, motion capture studio, and you're like plastered in Call of Duty, and you're like, wait. But it was so cool getting to see behind the scenes of how much it takes to create a game that well planned, that thought out. I mean, it's so rich and in depth, and the level of just thought and time, the amount of people, brilliant people who are creating these games. It's like stumbling into Atlantis. It's like a whole city that I was like, whoa, this is a universe. I went to the Game Awards this past year with because they were announcing Immortals of Avium. And it was incredible. It was like at the Staples Center or something. It was like it was a huge, there were
Which one did you go
thousands.
to last year?
Yes,
Oh,
the game.
2020. Yeah, yeah. Nice.
Yeah. I'm surprised that you didn't
No,
take a
I remember.
picture.
I remember you were there. Yeah, I do remember it. Yeah,
I
because I
was there.
messaged you saying congratulations on the game. Yeah.
It was it was incredible to be, I've obviously when Call of Duty was released and I started getting people's feedback from, my being in the game and being in touch with people who had played it and who loved it and getting to like see, I was like, whoa, I'm not part of the gaming community. Um, and so understanding the massive scale of it was amazing. But then actually going and in person being there and hearing like the cheers and the screams, the enthusiasm from so many bodies, just like it really drove it home for me. I was like, whoa, this is like just like an enormous amount of people are so deeply affected by this, and how cool that I get to be a part of it. And it's really fun to work behind the curtain and just to like meet all the designers and the sound engineers and everybody who it takes to make these games, come to life. It takes more than a village. It takes an entire universe, really. It's amazing.
Were you at the Game Awards the whole night? Did you get to see the orchestra?
I saw the orchestra. I
Nice.
mean, it was like the whole thing is just, yeah, it's so well done. And it was so fun to be able to go. I'm grateful Ivy Eisenberg, who cast me in.
Oh, what a legend.
What a legend.
Yeah.
You should speak to her. You should have her on the show.
Yeah, we are going to do something because she's casted every game
Everything.
yeah, she's incredible.
Anytime I get a message from her, I'm like, hey, what's up? I actually am totally, we're good friends in real life. We go out and have a great time together. She's a hoot.
She's a hoot, isn't she? Yeah.
Love it, love it.
Yeah,
Thank
she
you.
casted Immortals. Did she cast Cold War as well?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. That was when we first connected. And then, yeah. And then Immortals. And that was like it was like kind of piggybacked on each other. So she's been so incredible and just such a wonderful resource, someone who understands the whole process. And so I'm so grateful because being new to it, I'm like, I don't know how it works very different than film and television. So being able to have somebody who's kind of a mentor who can like walk me through what it's like in the whole development of the game. It's cool because you film it like you do chunks. And so it takes like a year and a half. I mean, Immortals was like 3.5 years that I was working on that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it was a stretch. And you go in and you do like a chunk and you do like a little level or a section. And then you go away for months and then you come back and they like show you what's happening and you're like, huh, look at this. It looks so good. And then there are the like really weird, awkward moments when things are just starting to develop and you're bald and you look like Wallace and Gromit style. Like you're like, oh no. But then the next time you come in and you're like, oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the slow development.
Yeah.
Immortals, you play another badass character. Was that always the tone from the start?
Dan, I think yes, she was always going to be a badass female character. I think she was always going to be like, I remember getting the breakdown, and I recently talked to somebody at our like launch release party. I was talking to one of the developers and I was saying that I remember this, and he's like, I don't remember that. So I don't know if I dreamed this, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have made this memory up, that the character breakdown describes Zendara as Grace Jones meets Lucy Lawless, Xena Warrior Princess.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm getting that
but it was,
vibe.
I would love to be those two women combined. Um, I just thought, and it was like, it was gonna be fantasy, and I was just like, I'm gonna be so fucking hot and look. So, of course, my like socially conditioned mind went to that. Like I was like, I'm gonna look really hot. And then when I arrived on set, they hired me, Actually, Dan, I remember I sent them two takes. I sent them like my normal take, and then I did one where I was like, I'm doing a Russian accent. I'm going to try for something totally different. Why not?
Wow.
I did a full one in like, initiate, you have been very, very bad. We don't know if you're going
Damn.
to live or die. Initiate.
I kind of want to see that character now in something. That's cool.
Where that tape exists. And Brett
Damn.
Robbins, actually the developer, the director, the man behind the whole operation was like, we hired you because we saw that and we were just like, this girl's just weird. Let's bring her on. Like, what a weird take to send that. It was so inappropriate, and why not? Like, let's bring her on. So thank God I sent in
Wow.
my one Russian phrase.
So it
Took me
actually
all the
kind of helped you book the job in a way.
You never know what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You just never know the like weird thing, because I feel like I've done that before, and then people are like, absolutely not her. She's the worst. We hate her. Why would she ever do that? So it's like, but it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall. You just never know. But I arrived on set that first day and I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm starting another game. This is so great. And they showed me like a mock-up of Zendara. And I was like, um, I'm sorry, this is Dwayne Johnson with my face pasted on it. When did
Oh man.
when did, when did she become The Rock? When did she
Mm.
become He Meets The Rock? I was like, what about Grace Jones? What about Lucy Lawless? And it's horrible to say this, but my initial reaction was like, oh my God, more because I had such a complex when I was growing up that I was like this like I had this like deep voice and I was always taller than everybody. And I was like, I just want to
Oh,
be
you
like
were
small.
self-conscious growing up a
I'm
little bit.
so self-conscious,
Yeah,
so
okay.
much. I like hated it. And now I'm so grateful. But for so many years, it was like a point of shame. Like I felt like I had to make myself small because I was like, you know, it felt like I was just this like weird ogre woman, which sounds like it's so sad to say that, but it was just again, like, I don't know, that's the complex that I had growing up. Like I was like, I wish I were small and cute.
Mm.
I'm like powerful beyond the measure. Like people are like, ooh. It was always the fear I had. So when I saw this character, it was like my own weird complex was like staring right in front of me.
Yeah.
And my whole was like, oh my God, I've been found out. Someone finally saw the truth of me, which is that I'm this like hulking mass of a woman. And they created this character because that's the energy that I bring into the room, is that I'm like a 7 foot, 700 pound titan. Um, and so for a second I was like, oh, but then you just like, as an actor, it's like, okay, actually, this is such a fun character. Let me just, I'm gonna go with it. What am I? I'm like, I'm gonna have to go with it. Now, at the time, Dan, my best friend Linda, who's 75 years old, she's the coolest woman I know.
Shout out to Linda.
Shout out to Linda. Big props to my girl Linda. She lived right by Josh Brolin. They're neighbors.
Oh, wow.
Actually, used to live there. It was like that's how I met Linda. We were neighbors. So he was there, and I remember seeing him like right after I had been cast, and I was like, dude, I have to play this character that's huge. And of course, he does so much work as Thanos, motion
Wow.
capture, does all of the like Thanos. And he's like, you know what you got to do? You have to tell them to give you ankle weights and like weights on your body so that when you move, it's like you're not just, me running around in my normal body, but like I have to act like I have 700 pounds of muscle on my body. So he's like, make sure that you get some like big ankle weights so that when you walk, there's like this like power to it. And like, and that was like a note I remember getting. Like I was running and they're like, oh, but remember, when you run, you're like,
You're running like this way.
which is how I normally run, which is why I
Oh,
don't.
well, you don't
Uh,
run. Yeah. I'm just pulling up an image now for everyone um,
Excellent.
who doesn't know this character. Hold on one sec, guys. Here we go. Where is she?
Beautiful Zendara.
Can you see that, guys? Yeah, she's a hunk of a woman, isn't she?
I can't see the image, but I believe that you're putting something beautiful up.
Oh, you can't see it? Hold on. Let me find it. This is the technicalities of going live,
The
everybody.
technical. Oh, there she is. Oh yeah.
See that?
I
There
mean,
we
look
go.
at the biceps.
Dude, she would rip me apart within about 30 seconds.
Dan, do you notice my favorite part? That the mole made it in again.
Oh, I can't. I told you that. I said this is awesome. Twice
Yeah.
now you've got it
Twice.
in. That's
Twice.
unheard of.
I mean, especially I'm sure we talked about this last time, but like I remember, when I first started auditioning, everyone was like, you have to take that disgusting mole off your face. No one's
God, I
gonna hire
hate
you.
that. I
I'm
hate
like,
that. Yeah.
and I'm like, some graphic designer went around and just plugged that mole on my face for every frame. Like that was someone's job at one point, was tracking the mole. I love that. I'm so grateful.
There is I mean there I can see a little bit of you in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
cool game for anyone who hasn't played it. Check it out. It's got some really cool gameplay too. First person magic. It's really different. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it earlier
It's a
this
really
year.
fun game. I feel like it's going to be such a cult classic. Like it's been such a um everyone who plays the game reaches out and is like, it was like such an unexpected and wonderful, fun, exciting, cool, yeah, experience. And I feel like the characters that we found in there were really great too. I was moved because, as I was working on this character, not to get too like deep into my own depth therapy work that I'm
No,
doing, but
please.
it was a healing process for me because it wasn't even just that I was given permission to embrace this part of myself that for so long I felt like I'd like, no, like, no, like, no, no, I'm not like, like swallowed down. Not only was I not, it was like, it wasn't permission. It was like I was being asked. They'd be like, could you turn that up a little bit? Like, could you get like, she's got to be fucking like bigger and fiercer and like as scary and threatening as you can get. And that was it wasn't anything that I'd been asked to do as an artist. I mean, Alan Park was absolutely so fierce and badass. And so I got to like, you know,
But it's different.
it was different because she was just so physically imposing. I remember this one motion capture session I had with Darren where I like run over to him. Do I look like I'm
Who
doing it
plays
good? Yeah.
Jack in the main character? Yep.
It's Jack, my main
Yep.
character. And they were like, now remember when you're talking to him that he's there, and he was like having to, and Darren and I are like around the same size, but like he was having to like look up like this. And I was like looking down and being like, come on, initiate. And it was, the line read was always like, little bitch. Like that was my subtext was always little bitch. But there was a moment where I like pick him up, like he's like, has fallen down or something. And I like grab him and I lift him up. And we like laughed so hard finding this moment when it was like I lifted him and it was like so easy for her. Like she was just like so strong that it would be like lifting a little stuffed animal off the ground. Um, and in that moment, I remember just being like, oh my gosh, wait, this is so fun to be like so strong as this human being that I can just like I can throw people around. Like what does that feel like when I like really accept that and like weave that into my heart and soul and like feel how that is. And it was like, I don't know, some part of myself was like, thank you. Thank you. Right? Like it's a beautiful thing. Like, why have you been trying to stuff me down all this time? Like
Right at that
embrace
moment, did you
it.
feel that?
I remember like that was a moment that it like hit me just because the reaction that people had when I like lifted him up and it was so easy. And people were like, oh my God, that's amazing. Of course, because she's so strong. And it was like this joyous reaction that people had rather than being like, ugh, like, or I don't know, whatever I had thought that I would, would feel ashamed if I ever like were to reveal my true, "Argh." Like there's no sexiness. She doesn't like sexiness isn't a part of her thing. There was never a moment of being like, and does she look cute doing it?
Mm.
This wasn't ever part of the vocabulary with her. It was just her being so strong and capable and warm, and like, it wasn't like she was cold or like mean anyway. I mean, she was tough, but she was like, she led with her whole identity was based on how strong she was. And just to exist in that body was so like, oh,
That's actually
yeah,
quite special.
yeah.
You'll never forget that.
I will never forget that. And when we had the release party, and I got to meet everyone who'd worked on the game, and this
Mm.
was happening as the game was rolling out, and I was getting messages from people who played. Zendara was this, like, it was like a fan favorite. Like, she was a character that people responded to so deeply. And I was like, I remember I was like moved to tears at this launch party because someone, all the people who worked on it were like, oh, she was just like, I mean, that character was just like transcended the game. It was like, I felt like as an actor, I was so grateful that the character had resonated with so many people. And it felt like this, yeah, again, this recognition that when you embrace this part of yourself that maybe you're like nervous about or have a shame around, or like that, it felt vulnerable for me to like lead with this, even though it's like silly to say that because she's so strong. There's nothing to be ashamed about, but it was like some deep complex that I had, that I was working through. But when you open that up and like share that, to then see people, that's the thing that people react to, right? Like that was the thing that people were responding to, was almost that integration of this vulnerability into the work. And I think that was a huge lesson for me as an actor. Like, wow, I shouldn't be trying to hide the things. I should be being like, look at this thing. Right. Because then people are like, right, yeah, I have that too. Or you give, I don't know what kind of magical process it is that moves people when they see something like that going on. But I think that happened with this character. And so I don't know, she's like so dear to my heart now. I'm like, thank you, Zendara. You healed me.
It'd be cool if we got not only a sequel to Cold War, but to that game as well. I think there's a lot more
Mhm.
to explore in that world.
Big time. I mean, yeah, in the end, I don't want to give it away, because you've played it, but Zendara's she's got an incredible storyline on that. And that was something like you don't know when you start a game how it's going to all pan out. And so getting to, the final sessions where we were recording it and I was learning about like how her character arc was all panning out. And I was like, oh, this is great. I'm so happy. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
you.
think,
So was that your reaction? Happiness, like
yeah, like
yeah,
just because I didn't know also, and I don't know if you ever know, and probably someone could answer this for me, but how much of it changes as it's developing. Like, they might have an idea of how it's going to go, and then you start filming and you start finding things. And you're like, ooh, this really works. Maybe we want to turn this up, or maybe we're going to start shifting it. So the storyline that I had been presented with at first is different than what wound up happening.
really, yeah.
And I felt like it was part of that was just because as Zendara was growing as this character, I think the, the developers were like, let's use this. Whatever was happening was something that was like,
Organic, yeah.
something cool is happening. So let's lean into it. So obviously that feels good when you're an actor and you start seeing that they're like,
But
wanting
that's
to
not the
include it.
first time you've had an effect on a project like that.
Is it not? Oh my God.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
even Cold War. I mean, you were
Yeah,
adding in spices of romance and stuff that wasn't originally
that's
in the
right.
script. Yeah,
That's right. Our one take Lazar and Park
I love
romance.
that. That's my favorite part of that game. I love that scene. Yeah.
So good. And I told you, I'm sure, but it was one take. And they were like, we wrote this. We don't know if we'll just try it. And yeah, we did it in just the one take. And it was like, yeah, I feel like it turned into, yeah, then like this whole other little like flavor got written in that I think, yeah, why not a little romance in Cold War? Why not?
If you so for people that haven't played Immortals, what would be the thing you say to get them in?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think the world that they've built, the world building is just insane. I mean, it's unlike anything I'd ever seen, and the detail that went into it. So it's one of these games that I think you enter into this world, and it's totally new, and it's so there's so much to explore and to discover, and the level of like depth and detail that they created is just like it's unparalleled. So, it took a long time because they were putting that effort and energy into creating such a, you know, specific and new kind of thing to explore. So I think that's what would draw me in. Like I love, world building and exploring new worlds and things, but the magic is a really cool experience. I don't know what it's like from like a player standpoint. What about you, Dan? From a player standpoint, what would you say to get
It
people to play?
surprised me from a gameplay point of view. I found it quite fun. It's kind of plays like a shooter game, but it's magic powers out of hands. It sounds bizarre, but it works. It works quite well. It really
Yeah.
does. You haven't played either game you're in, have you? You're
I haven't.
still.
I'm so nervous because I wouldn't even know how to hold the controller. Like I'm so at the level that I wouldn't be able to like walk out the door. And so
So you
I've
need the
often had,
VR headset, maybe
yeah, something like that.
something
I
like
feel like
that.
I need to find someone who's like really good on Twitch or something who will like take me through, and we can do like a like learn how to play a video game with me thing. So if anyone's out there that knows, I know I've said this before, I'm still down to try it. But it's just like I'm aware of someone would have to be so patient because I would truly be, it would be like trying to teach your mom how to use TikTok. It would be like that level of like, oh God, really bad at it.
You're not on TikTok, are you?
I'm not.
I feel like you'd be pretty good at that, but yeah, it's just another thing.
One
Uh,
of these things. No, it's like life. I feel like my days are already so full. I'm like, I'm sure it would be so much fun. And I feel like I would have such I think I probably, if I put my mind into doing that, I would have so much fun. But my life is so full of like, what I'm doing in the everyday moment, just day to day. I don't feel like I've carved it in to my life.
what's a perfect day for you?
Honestly, my days have been so perfect. I'll tell you about it. So I wake up, I stand on my vibration plate. I should get like a sponsorship with them. I
You
need to
really
like find
should.
out.
You've just sold me. I'm gonna buy
I
one
do.
straight after.
Yeah. I eat breakfast now. That's a new thing for me. I just started eating breakfast again. I had been like intermittent fasting for a long time, which I think was actually not so great for me as it turned out. So I have a nice little breakfast, and then I'll do one of two things, Dan. But in my perfect day, let's say I'll do them both. First, I go to this place called Steep Rock Preserve. There's a state park right near me, and it has this beautiful old train tunnel, and it's like my magic space. It's like the place that I go to heal. So I walk, it's like maybe a mile or 2 miles into the woods, right by this huge river. I go into the tunnel, I do some weird ritual stuff, say my prayers, I unzip my skin, and I like come out, and I just like discard the old skin that I don't need anymore. And then I bless myself. And there's a big quartz rock, and I press my face into it. And I just, I don't know. There's a deep part of me that connects to this big, it's a giant quartz rock. And it's like, I'm like a cat
Are there
within it.
other people around? No, I'm guessing.
Every once in a while, I'll see a person. Yeah, it's not so, especially at the time that I go, it's pretty empty.
Okay.
So I'll go back home. Let's say I've started riding again. So I've been riding horses, which has been like my heart's joy because I grew up riding horses, and I was such an
Oh,
insufferable horse girl as a child. And now I'm back into that. So I'll go and I'll ride my horse. And I have this big, beautiful black horse named Zydeco right now. He's not actually my horse. I'm just riding him. But
yep.
we'll do some, we'll do a little dressage, some jumping. We'll get a little nice training session in, and maybe go for a little trail ride. He's
Oh, that's
he's
cool.
a it's been such a wonderful part of my life to like explore again. Just
Connect with
the
nature too.
connecting with nature is amazing. Also having a relationship with something, I'm sure any pet owner can relate to this, but having a relationship with an animal, especially on a horse, because you're teaming up, you're like doing these things. Like I'm like, we're jumping these big jumps. I can't talk to you. We have to find a way to like do this together. You're much bigger than I am. I'm hoping that I can convince you to do something kind of crazy. And so that you start like you learn how to communicate in different ways. And I don't know, I feel like I've like learned so much about relationship through the dynamic with my horse. Where I'm like, oh, I can't actually just tell you, like, you're really annoying me right now. Could you stop? How do I gently but firmly communicate what needs to happen here? Get home, have a nice writing session. I'd have a nice little lunch. I'd make myself something really yummy and tasty. And then,
Like
yeah,
a what?
like a like a steak salad,
Ah,
just
okay. Yeah.
medium rare, just a little bloody, maybe even rare. Some nice cheese on it, big piece of toast with some cheese and some raw steak. Yeah, that sounds great after another day riding. And then
Nice.
hop into work. I mean, I've been the last few months been writing and it's just been so much fun. I have this incredible writing partner, Corinne. And we've kind of found this like amazing flow. It's so fun to work with a collaborator. I'm a very collaborative person in my creative life. It's like I hate to work alone. Writing alone is tough. It's really tough. I have so much respect for anybody who can sit down with a blank page and write on their own. For me, half the fun is this like synergy that happens. It's like you throw out an idea and someone's like, yeah, but and what if she's like, and what if she has cat ears? And I'm like, oh, I never would have thought of cat ears. That's so good. Okay, yeah, she's got cat ears. And then you're off to the races, and there's amazing thing that happens in an ideal world, when you're in collaboration where it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's like 1 + 1 equals like 17,826. And you're like, whoa. Um, so I feel that so much right now with my writing partner. Um,
That's
so
great.
writing, we get 10 pages written. That's a great fucking day. Or,
Yeah, that's
you know,
good.
yeah, really good. It's
10.
been fun. 10. We actually wrote the screenplay that we wrote this summer. We wrote it in 10 days flat. We just sat down and we were like, on our 10th day, we stood up and we were like, holy shit, we just finished that script, which was
How
quick.
100 pages is how long do you think? How long does that translate to on
Say
screen?
about a minute a page is the general rule.
Okay. Yeah.
Minute a page. It totally depends. Like if it's like a very action heavy
Yeah, yeah.
page, the dialogue is like, hey, hi, how's it going? Not much you, which is terrible writing. But maybe it's really, I don't know. But so it depends, but it averages out to about a page a minute. So if you have like a 90-minute, 90-page script, you get an hour and a half film.
Yeah. So you're gonna
Yeah.
shop what's your plans with the writing
Yeah, trying to
to
get actors attached first is a really good way to go. I mean, there's a billion ways that a film can get made, and I'm
yeah.
learning all of it, so it's all terra incognita for me. But it's like, you can get an actor attached and then they can bring in money, or you can get, people who are interested in financing and then you can approach people socializing it. It's like basically you want to get as many eyes on it as you can. So you never know, the person who's gonna be like, I've got an idea. I want to give you $5 billion. Like, that's it. I've been waiting for you.
And you don't want
But
to direct?
as of now, I don't have that itch.
Mm,
I'm allowing that to be something that comes to me in time, if and when. But I'm so happy for other people to direct things. I love writing so much, and producing was the short film that I produced. That was very exciting. I thought I was going to die. I thought I'm
really?
dying
Why?
for life. The sense of responsibility,
Mm,
and that I'm like, this is all, I wrote it. I got the team together. The team then, I couldn't have done it without them, obviously, but it felt like I had somehow convinced all these people to work on this thing for me. I was financing it myself, I was the star of it. And
oh
just
wow.
remember like going into production, just being like, why did I've led all these people into battle and we're all going to die. Like I've made a terrible mistake. They're all going to be like, why did we follow you into battle? You're a terrible leader. Um,
It's hard enough to produce, let alone act in it as well.
yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, it was the feeling of responsibility too was also like, God, I hope I don't do a bad job. That like once everything's in place and you feel like it's a miracle if you get anything to just all fall together and you can actually get the shoot dates and everything's like all set up. And then, the day I woke up and had to step into camera and it was just me and I was like, oh God, I hope I'm not horrible because then all of this will have been for nothing. But
Where
It's
can we watch it? Is it available anywhere yet, or will be?
It hasn't been dropped. We're hoping that we can premiere at a film festival. Um, we have, the ability to put it out online, but you kind of want to give that right to a film festival and premiere at a film festival in an ideal world.
You'll send me a
So
link after, yeah.
100%, I will.
All right, let's get to a few of these questions before we let you go, Lily. By the way, what are the chances of Park coming back in a future COD, do you reckon? And where would you go with it? I'm curious.
Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that be so exciting?
Oh, that'd be amazing. The timing of that drink was quite funny. Yeah, what would you is there anything you'd like to explore with that character?
Oh my God, so many things. Yeah, I mean, she's so capable and so fun. I would love to lean into more, find more of her humor. I feel like we were finding it, and it was kind of like, oh, look, she's got this like cutting, sassy, really funny side. Um, this dynamic with the guys where I feel like she was always kind of like, oh my God, catch up, keep up, you guys. Like, so I would love just exploring those dynamics. It's always the most fun for me is like, how does she interact with all the different characters and the players? And yeah, maybe, if Lazar is dead and, who's next on Park's list? Like, get some love for Park. Let's like not just save Park, but date Park.
But even if it's not, even if it's not Park, that Russian accent you came out, I reckon you could play a really cool Russian villain or something, or not even a villain. It could be yeah. There's something there, Lily. You need to
I'll get back into
explore.
my Russian, dust off my little Russian. Oh yeah, I would be thrilled. I love doing voice work. I love doing accents and, messing around with different
Different
kinds.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just informs a character so much. Anytime you have like something that changes the way you speak, it's like a reverse engineer. It's like as soon as my mouth is different, I like the whole everything that like informs my character becomes different. So Park, yeah, having just the fact that she had that accent, it just so much came out of what that voice was, which is so that's always fun to explore someone. I'd love to know. I was actually recently telling my dear friend Dalel, who is actually my movement coach, and she helps me with all of this, the physicality that I do. She's from Mexico and we speak in Spanish together. And I was telling her, I was like bemoaning to her because I was like, I'm a much better version of myself in Spanish. Like I like myself more as a Spanish speaker than as an English speaker. And
Wow.
it's sad. I have to like live with myself mostly as an English speaker, but when I'm speaking Spanish, I'm like, man, I'm a good time.
Really? What do you think it is?
I was wondering about this. I think it's two part is what I came up with. The first part I was thinking everyone who I speak Spanish to is like unconditionally loving. Olga was unconditionally loving to me, and the people who I, you know, speak Spanish with to this day are people who are like safe spaces. So I think one thing is that I never had to develop these like affectations or these little protective measures of myself in like a Spanish speaking way because I feel like I'm safe when I'm speaking Spanish. My body feels like I'm with good people when I'm speaking Spanish. I don't have to worry. I don't have to like couch anything or go back on anything or make like run it through and be like, did I sound like a jerk or you know,
Mm-hmm.
safe space. Two, I think there's something about when it's like not your primary language, and so you're a little loosey goosey,
Mm.
and you can kind of make these mistakes and be like, it's okay. There's a lot of poetic license that happens when I'm speaking Spanish. And I think it turns out sounding so much better than the ways that I speak correctly in English. Like I'll make these little mistakes and I'm like, oh, wasn't that beautiful? I love that little poetic thing I just came up with. And all the little like slapdash strange ways of speaking that I come up with because it's not my primary language. I just think they're like it like allows me a kind of playfulness and a spontaneity that I think when in English I'm like, I should probably speak correctly. This is really the language that I speak. I should be saying things right. And in Spanish, I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Well, it's also the most beautiful language to listen to, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Olga, the woman who raised me, she refused to learn English. She never learned it. She lived in the United States for 35 years. And she's like, why would I learn such an ugly language?
Oh,
I'm
so
not
you
going to
couldn't
do that.
speak to her in English at all?
No, no.
Wow.
The whole family learned Spanish.
And
Yeah.
no
And
wonder
like,
you're so good at speaking it. Yeah.
what a power move. She was like,
That's
nope.
awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, she was like English and she would do impressions and she's like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, is that what I sound like to you? But Spanish is really beautiful for sure.
Oh, that's great. Hey, Lily, I hope you're in the next COD from Tio.
Oh my gosh, Tio, me too, baby. You and me both.
Jimmy, I love your work in Cold War. Do you have any advice for actors going into an audition? Thank you so much. Thank you for
I
your
mean, it's
donation, Jimmy.
Jimmy, thank you. Jimmy, I think it sounds so obvious and it's the hardest thing. It's like the simplest and the hardest thing, which is to try to bring the quality of yourself that's like your unique self to not operate from a place of what do they want me to be and I'm going to try to be that, but who am I and like what's my unique perspective that I can show them that's going to surprise them and is going to be me and my full humanness. It's really hard to keep that when you get into an audition. It's so scary, but trying to keep your whole self with you, I think, is the best thing.
How many auditions do you do? Are you allowed
Oh,
to?
it's an embarrassing amount.
Yeah, still to this day?
I mean, yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, not not recently because the strike has been happening.
No,
But
yeah, of course, yeah.
I don't have the offers rolling in yet, Dan. But
You
one
should.
day,
You should.
I don't. You know what? I'm going to offer myself roles. Is what's going to happen. I'm
The
not
power
offering.
play, yeah.
I'm not going to audition myself with the stuff I'm writing. I'm going to say she got the role. I know her. She's good for it.
Anonymous, thank you for the $15. I appreciate that very much. After 3 years since Cold War release, what are Lily's thoughts about the fan content, the 3D art that has been made around Park? There is some very interesting, I don't know the art that you've seen, but I've seen some very interesting art along the
I
way.
love it all. I
Yeah.
love it all. I've
Yeah.
seen the good, bad, I've seen the sexy. And I support, if people are inspired to make art because of Park, I'm thrilled for that. I see people make things and I'll post it on my stories because I'm amazed at what people can do. I'm so impressed. And yeah, I mean, I'm like delighted. Yeah, 100%. Keep making artwork of Park. And like hot Park, yeah, sure. Like I'm not opposed to seeing Park in a sexy little outfit. That's fine by me. I have no qualms with that.
What was, this is from Anonymous, what was Japan like, Lily? Did you go to Japan recently?
Yes, not recently,
Okay.
in 2019, I
Oh,
guess.
yeah. I remember seeing that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, what was that
Japan is a,
like?
oh my gosh, I had the most amazing time. It was my second time that I'd visited, and that time I took myself for Valentine's Day, and it was such a romantic thing that I did.
By
And
yourself?
yeah, by myself. Although I met a friend there, so I had a friend who was, was there. We met up eventually, but yeah, first I was in South Korea. I went to Seoul. It was really heart and Seoul. I took myself to Seoul for Valentine's Day, and then I hopped over to Tokyo. I
Wow.
would, if I had like the gift of you get to live anywhere for 6 months and just like have an immersive experience, would absolutely live in Tokyo. It's such an
Really?
amazing, I mean, Japan, I would love to explore more of Japan, but Tokyo is such a wonderful combination of unexpected things, and the food is amazing, and the people are incredible, and the streetwear and what people are wearing, and
Yeah.
the spirit of just
Clean?
like so clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like high social responsibility. So,
I want to go. Do you have any recommendations?
so many. I'll absolutely send you all of them. But you
Yeah.
know what's really fun is going to the fish market. I am going to mispronounce the name. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah.
You go very early. You have to go like at 6:30 in the morning or something when all the fish has arrived. And you can walk around the market and they'll give you like the fresh fish just like right off and it's like it's heaven.
Oh, I love seafood. So that's that. You're speaking my language.
Yeah, you gotta go. It's
All right.
close to you.
Yeah, it is. It's not a bad flight, actually. Yeah. We were looking the other day because we really do want to go. Lily, I'm going to pull up a few images and just give you a quick story of what you see here. What's the?
Dan, this is in Tokyo.
Is it really?
In
Hopefully we don't
Tokyo.
get banned for this one, but yeah.
No,
No,
what's to ban?
we should be right.
We should be celebrated for this one.
Exactly.
This is the my male alter ego, Jim Bills. Jim was the one who took me on this Valentine's trip. I found myself feeling like I had a dearth of sort of masculine energy. And so I was like, I'm gonna, you know what? I have a male alter ego inside of me.
Jim
Jim Bills.
Bills. Where
Jim
did you coin
Bills.
that name?
Jim Bills was someone once called me Jim Bills, and I thought it was like I as soon as I heard it, I said, you're right. That's exactly what it is.
There you go.
Um, you know, Jim Bills knows exactly all the things that I like, and it was one of the best boyfriends I ever had. Jim Bills took me to South Korea for Valentine's Day, and then we were in Tokyo, and through this friend who I told you about, I met this amazing photographer, Mia, and Mia and I became. This was maybe the second time we met. She's like, "Do you want to do a shoot in the hotel?" We were at the Park Hyatt. That's where Lost in Translation was filmed, and I was like, "Yeah,
Wow.
let's do something."
That's cool.
We were taking these pictures and I was so awkward. I'm like, I'm kind of awkward with a still camera. I just get self-conscious. And I was like, and she was like, can you do something else? And I was like, and she's like, or not that, something else than that. And suddenly, you know what? I'm not going to do this photo shoot. I'm going to leave it up to Jim because Jim's like really capable and he's just like, he's got swag. Jim Bills, by the way, like is kind of loosely based on Joe Camel. I later came to realize. I was like, Joe Camel.
Joe Camel. Hold on. I recognize the name. Joe Camel.
I mean, this is bad because it's like a cigarette. It's like Camel cigarettes. So I don't want to promote cigarette smoking. That's not cool.
Oh, Joe Camel. Right.
But
Okay.
he's kind of got like a real swag to him. Anyway,
Yeah. I get it now. I see it. Yeah.
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 We were doing this photo shoot and I was kind of clamming up and feeling all self-conscious. And then I was like, I'm just going to let this alter ego take over. And this is Jim. Yeah, Jim just kind of came out. I didn't tell her that, but suddenly she's like, what just happened? And I was like, I let Jim Bills take the reins. Me and I, we hung out maybe 3 times, 2 or 3 times in Tokyo, and we got along so well. We wound up planning this road trip through the south of France a year later. I like reached out and was like, I'm going to be in France. What are you doing? She's like, not much. You want to take a road trip? And we spent like 10 days road tripping in the south of France. So this photograph is
I can't
this is
even catch up with friends in Australia that live 10 minutes away. And you're catching up with people from across the world going to France on a road trip. Man.
it was a wild time of my life. It's not always like that, but it comes in. That was a fun adventure.
When was your last holiday, by the way?
What was my last holiday? I guess I was in Belize with Heather Hemmons, my dear, dear friend from Roswell. We went on a little girls' trip in Belize. I guess we knew at that point that Roswell was not going forward. That was like a year. No. So I've been other places. I was in Oaxaca like in last March. I went to Oaxaca, Mexico. That was incredible. The food was unlike anything I'd ever tasted. That was amazing.
Oh, really?
I'd love to take another trip.
What sort of food?
I mean,
Mexican.
the mole,
Yeah.
I ate crickets. It was
Oh.
like things that my body just I hadn't tasted that kind of flavor palette before. I mean, I'd had mole before, but it was like when I got there and was eating the real stuff, I was just like, whoa, this is a totally different vibe.
Yeah, right. You don't know. By the way, guys, she has no idea what photos are going to come up here.
I have no idea. I love this one. I mean, the cat ears, what if she had cat ears? This is like
Going back to before, yeah.
Oh, it's a callback. This was on Halloween in Santa Fe. I was actually dressed up as a twin. We were conjoined twins, me and my friend Eva, my dear friend Eva. We took a shower curtain and we tied it around the bottom half of us. And we were Tiffany, this one girl. We joked that it was 2 girls, 1 pussy. I'm sorry. That's just what we said.
You have to make that joke. I don't blame you.
They were terribly at odds with each other, and it was like we thought it was so funny that like these 2 people were connected and had to like live with each other their whole lives.
Yeah.
So this is my character. She is separate. We were peeing. I think actually at this moment Eva was probably sitting on the toilet peeing and took this picture of me. I was wearing hot pants underneath the shower curtain, and I was feeling myself.
Oh, that reminds me of when there was a video of you and you're in a bathroom and there's a toilet and then there's another toilet. Where's
another
that?
toilet.
That's
That
weird.
that was in Los Angeles. That's in
What the hell? That's so weird.
it's a Mexican restaurant in Los Angeles. I can send you the info if you ever want to go. You and a friend can, pee at the same time or more.
Yeah. Hopefully that's a defect or something.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. This cat. Just saw him randomly, just was walking down the street and it's like real recognize real is all I can really is what I think when I see this. We just saw each other and we had a connection and
yeah.
that was
Are you a
that's pretty
cat or
much it.
dog person?
I mean, I love them both so much, but I have a certain respect for cats because they just don't give a fuck. They just and I love
You
that about
resonate with
them.
that? Yeah.
There's a godliness to a cat. Like they're
Mm.
just like take me or leave me. I don't really care. And they're so, I mean, it's an apex predator, a cat, like their physicality. I'm stunned. They sleep 18 hours a day and then they leap 100 feet into the air. And I'm like, but this is just, you're just poetry in motion, cats. They're so beautiful. Oh yeah.
Now this isn't
That
a
kid.
real pregnancy, but yeah.
Who's that kid? I feel like I forgot something, right? My kid. This is not a real pregnancy. This was one of my first jobs on a show called Brain Dead. There's my rubber stomach. Look at that giant rock they gave me. They let me pick out what wedding ring I wanted.
Oh wow, that is a huge wedding ring.
That
Damn,
one.
you were getting looked after there.
Bigger
Shit.
than my belly. Yeah, she was, although he was cheating on her. So it was like,
Oh, what a
all
bit of
the
an
ring in the
asshole.
world, all the money in the world can't buy loyalty.
Yeah. So what's that like being pregnant for a film?
For
Annoying?
a film, I mean, it was fun. It was
Yeah.
great. It's like all the fun of being pregnant without any of the headache. It was like people would, and because I would like, I had to have it. Like once they put it on, you kind of like got to stay on. So when you're walking around and people might not know that it's fake, they'll behave as though as though you're about to pop. And so people were giving me their seats and asking me if I was okay. And I wasn't telling anyone that I wasn't actually pregnant. Obviously, I was leaning into it. And I was doing other fun things like drinking, and just, knocking it back, and like, oh, pretending like, oh my God, should she be smoking?
Uh, oh, this is
Oh
a
my God.
throwback. This is a
Thank you,
throwback.
man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Me and my mom looking equally surprised.
How long ago was this, do you think?
I think I must have been 15.
Wow.
Maybe it was at the
Damn.
Kennedy Center Honors. I'm not sure where this was. My mother, I would sometimes get to go along and be my mom's date to things. And so there are like a lot of fun, very embarrassing images of me being like in the background, like,
Were you nervous or?
I think, yes, I'm sure I was a little self-conscious, but I think it was also so exciting to be able
Yeah.
to be part of whatever was going on. Like that was just, and my mother seemed to be welcomed as someone who was deserved to be there. So I was just kind of like, I'm with her. Yeah. I think there's also something nice about going to an event like this where it's not your thing. So I actually had no skin in the game. So it was just kind of like you get to kind of be
Enjoy
like,
it.
whoa,
Yeah.
this is fun. Yeah. And you feel different when it's something that you're like, oh, here we go. Of course, I didn't know that the internet would happen as it did and that these images would live on in perpetuity forever and ever. Amen. So I might have been more nervous had I known that. This is my road trip with Mia.
Oh, no way. Really? How
South of
funny.
France. I guess I'm actually taking this picture, it looks like. We were driving through the south of France and it was crazy sunflower fields, just as far as the eye could see. So, every once in a while we'd hop out and take a series of photographs. This is one of the more G-rated versions of the sunflower series, actually, but I think this
Oh, this
one did
is
make.
okay.
Yeah.
So what, did you get your gear off and just start posing in the middle of
Yeah. Yeah. It's France. It's not
Oh, they
like I
all
was,
do it over there, do they?
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think I would do this in Germany. I wouldn't behave like this in Germany.
And then I think this is the last
Ah,
one. Yeah.
Clark.
This
You
is
know, this
cool. Not many actors do this, so I give you credit. This is cool.
I mean, I didn't know that there's a story behind this as well, this day in general. I didn't realize what a huge like honor it was that I was getting this photo shoot. I thought this was maybe sort of standard. I've never had an experience like this since then. And I think it was just an enormously remarkable thing that they called me in, when we were developing the character Park, and they brought me in, and it was a full day where I dressed up in like 15 different outfits, and they would put me up on this big like lazy Susan, and I would like turn around and be doing like all these different like poses and stuff. Um, Now, I guess it was 2 days that we had this. The first day, I got a text from my boyfriend in the morning being like, I can't do this anymore. I'm breaking up with you over a text message. And I was like, what? It was the first time I'd had anything like this, and I misread the call sheet, Dan. Which is never happens. I'm a very professional person, but I misread the call sheet. So I thought I was supposed to come in at 1 p.m. and I was supposed to come in at like 10. And at 9 a.m., I received the text message saying, like, I don't want to be with you anymore. And I was like wrecked. I was wrecked, you know.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Sorry.
And you absolutely should laugh. It's a huge, massive comedy. So I'm hysterically sobbing, and I get a call from the studio, or my manager, or Ivy, maybe being like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "You were supposed to be on set 20 minutes ago. Are you on your way?" And I'm like, "What? I'm supposed to come in at 1. No, you're supposed to be here now." So I fly out of the house, and I'm like on the 10 with my mom on speakerphone, not in my hand because I'm a safe driver, through my Bluetooth of my car, like losing it. Like, and my mother's like, listen, honey, you have to pull it together and show up on that set, and you better work. And I don't care what's happened to you this morning, but you got to put it away and you got to get to work. And like, she was not thrilled that I
Who
was
said
late because
that?
my mother.
Oh, what a
It
legend.
was just like, pull it together. You got to get there and you got to deliver the goods. Now I have to get there and deliver the goods of like, I'm a I'm an MI6 agent, and I'm the most intense qualified person. And instead I show up like an hour late, fucking face swollen, mascara. I was like, I'm sorry, my boyfriend just broke up with me. And I feel like they were all like, hey, cool. Helen Park was also one of the first like big female leads on Call of Duty. Here I am
Yeah.
like showing up, and
Yeah.
I was just like not giving womankind a good look, showing up here crying. I was just like, I have to pull it together. So I like went into the dressing room. I remember the God bless the like makeup artist was like, honey, we're gonna like put some under eye concealer on, and we're gonna do this, and you're gonna deliver. And I was just like, and
Oh
like
my
10 minutes into
God.
it, I was like, give me the gun. And I
Oh, so
just
you
like,
channel the inner rage. Yeah.
there I am being like, fine, break up with me. Like, you think there's not another one coming down the pipes?
That's fantastic. What a great story.
Yeah. So behind all of those shots of Helen
And
Park,
you
I was
wouldn't,
like,
no one would have a clue until now. Now everyone knows. But
now everyone knows. They can see, they're like, what's that pain behind her eyes? Oh, her sad boyfriend who broke up with her right beforehand. Get rid of.
oh, thank you, Lily, for giving up some of your time today. We really appreciate it.
It is such a pleasure, Dan. I love chatting with you.
And I love
Even when
chatting
you're
with
on
you.
a podcast, you just let me know. I'm available for podcasts anytime.
Thank you very much. And so when this isn't the last time we're going to see you in gaming, right? You're still going to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got stuff in the pipes. I wish I could tell you all about it, Dan. I'm sworn to secrecy.
No, no,
I'd
I
have
know.
to
I'm
fly
just.
to
I just wanted to
Australia.
know that there's still more coming. That's good.
Don't worry. There's going to be multi releases. So,
Beautiful.
hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a great time.
And you'll come back and tell us all about it then.
I'll come
Uh,
back and I'll try to generate some good stories for you for the next time.
Thank you very much, Lily. Guys,
Thank
say
you, Dan. And thank
goodbye.
you to everyone so much who contributed. And thank you to everyone who's watching and came along for the ride. I so appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and if you're watching this back not live, please use the link in the description. There's one more here quickly. I'll get to Lily just while you're here. I just wanted to say, Lily, you are the best, very generous, simply amazing. Do you speak French?
Un petit peu. Je ne parle pas français, mais un petit peu. Okay.
It's not
And
bad.
merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. That's so kind. I would love to speak more French, so maybe you can help me.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Lily. Before I let you go, can Park say something to Dan to round this one out? Do you still
Would you
have it
like
in
me-
you, that accent?
Dan, what do you want me to say? I'll say anything to you, Dan. What do you want? Being cheeky, are we, Dan?
Yeah,
Being
just
cheeky.
just come up anything you want. Honestly, just give us something. Come on.
Really, Dan, I hate to do this to you because I'm an awfully big fan of yours, but unfortunately, I've been sent on assignment to kill you. So, any last words before I go?
I save Lazar, bitch. No.
I love
Only
it.
kidding. I'm
Thank
Team
you so
Park. I'm
much.
Team Park. All right, guys. Say goodbye to Lily. Thanks again, Lily. We'll see you soon. Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a good
See
day.
you soon.
The greatest interviewer